Welcome everyone to Bet What Happens Live. I'm your host, Nick Giffen, predictive analyst here at Action Network, and joining me as always for Mondays and Thursdays, my buddy Grant Neefer of Scores and Odds. We're here for both Monday night football games. The first one, of course, between the Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Grant. Buffalo is slaughtering Jacksonville right now. First of all, shout outs to Damar Hamlin for getting that interception first of his career after we had to miss a Bet What Happens Live a couple years ago when he had his incident. So kind of a full circle moment there for Bet What Happens Live. But Grant, where are we going for some bets?
Yeah, this game is disgusting.
Yes, it is.
And everything's kind of pointing towards Jacksonville throwing the ball the rest of the game. Bills might only pass the ball 2 or 3 more times the rest of the game. It's weird. I want to see what the model has to say because this is all disgusting. So let's start off immediately with Trevor Lawrence over under 225.5 passing yards. He's currently sitting at 46. Obviously, 2-minute warning. I think they get the ball first in the second half.
They do. We're at 226.5 for the model projection. But again, they have the ball now and they'll have the ball start the second half. So I definitely lean over on that.
Yeah, I'm going to wait and see after this drive. I almost tempted to take the under. I don't know if they probably will bench it. Like, no reason. They have no reason to be in this game. Yeah, I get they kind of want to get things together a little bit. It's just a weird one where I have a sneaking suspicion that this just becomes a full-on slaughter. And so we'll stay away from that. Maybe after the 2-minute warning, we'll look into it a little bit more, see where it's going to be at. But my lean is towards the under. But we'll look into some of the receiving props. I doubt many of these guys end up getting sat. Let's look into some of the Jacksonville players. Brian Thomas Jr. currently sitting at 18. His over-under for the game is between 50 and 60, strangely enough. I don't know why.
Well, at 50, we'd have an over, and at 60, we'd have an under. So we're right in between that.
Yeah, what's the odds at 50? I think Fanatics just took that bet down.
It would be 56% to the over at 50.5. 60.5 would be 56% to the under.
Yeah, it's at 53.5 now at FanDuel. I don't know if you just got a catch. You just got a catch. All right, let's hit the over of 53.5. Multiple places. DK at -110 is the best. So I'm hitting that. DK
right.
GM looks like it's on the board.
Yep. So over 53.5 receiving yards for Brian Thomas Jr. at DraftKings is our first bet here on Bet What Happens Live. And I do see it up there. Yeah, 52.5 now at DraftKings if you're able to get that. So Brian Thomas Jr. over 52.5 receiving yards. Again, he's at 23 right now because he just got that catch.
Yeah, he's the clear alpha in this offense. He's already stepping into the biggest role. Let's see. All right, drop pass, classic Jags. Let's look at the other two main guys in this receiving office. Christian Kirk, line sitting between 47.5, 49.5. He is currently at 14 yards receiving. What does the model have?
47.5. We're at 55% to the over, and at 49.5, we're right at close to 50-50.
All right,
It's
we'll
not
stay
a huge
away from
edge.
Gabe Davis. Revenge has dropped both of his passes. Almost had a decent one there. He's currently sitting at 0, and the over-under is 23.5 over at FanDuel. That seems low.
That's very low. We're taking the over on that. We
All
have
right,
65% to the over. So Gabe Davis over 23.5 receiving yards, -114 at FanDuel is our next bet here on the first of two Bet What Happens Lives.
Yeah, looking at other ones, Strange is sitting at, he's currently at 6. His over-under is 23.5 to 25.5. It hasn't gotten a ton of volume. They've been mixing in all the tight ends. He obviously had some decent volume last week, but we're not entirely certain if they're going to continue the same thing. Obviously, it was a weird situation with Ingram getting hurt in pregame warmups, and he just seemed to step into the role. I don't know if that's going to happen again. Again, one target. Could be a safety blanket. I just want to hear what the model has to say about that.
Let me check right now. Model has about 55% of the over, but the Jacksonville did just have to punt the ball away here.
Yeah, take it
So
over to the second half because we're going to keep looking at Jacksonville lines for right now.
certainly.
And I expect Buffalo. I mean, they might go for it. They might air the ball out a little bit here.
Yeah, just because of the time loss, it's right at 50-50 for if I tick it over to the second half for Strange at 23.5 or 25.5. Pretty much the same thing.
All right. Mac Hollins going to get a reception. Line's currently sitting at, was it 5.5 a second ago? Now it's at 0.5. It's what do we have Hollins getting a reception at all the rest of this game?
That's a great question. So we have him 50-50 to go over half a receiving yard. If I do receptions, we have, it's not going to be exactly the same. It's going to be, I just need to click this button. It's going to be 49% to, so yeah, I mean, we're right even with the market on half a reception or half a receiving yard.
Ooh, potentially some. There's a flag on the play. It was a fumble. I think it was recovered by the Bills. Not entirely certain. Everything's muted. Everything's down at the moment, so we don't even have any lines to bet on. But man, this is just a interesting little game here, to say the least.
Yeah, it really is.
Actually, it's not interesting at all. It's the opposite of interesting. But it's when it's not interesting, we gamble. Mac
Exactly.
Hollins looks like it's now it's back off, but FanDuel's laying out a 5.5
For his
receiving yards
yards.
line for
Yeah, we
Hollins.
would be now again, Buffalo has the ball right now. So I don't know if this is the spot. We'd be at 55% to the under, but if this gets out of hand, does Matt Collins become more involved here?
I don't know. I mean, you have an interesting middle.
Yeah.
Plus 105 to the over at 0.5, and then it was at minus 114 to the under at 4.5 over at FanDuel. I mean, it's not the
Mhm.
greatest under, but I've seen that line sitting at plus 110 now. We'll see what. So you get, I don't hate this middle under three. If you guys have ESPN Bet and FanDuel, under 3.5 yards receiving minus 115 and over 0.5 yards receiving plus 110 at ESPN or MGM. That's kind of a fun one.
That's an interesting one. We can do it. I mean, it's if you
Should
hit,
can we hit the middle on the show? Because
we'd
I'm
have to hit exactly 1 or 2 yards, right? Or three, 1, 2, or 3 yards.
yep.
You want to go for it?
Yep, we'll go for it.
All
Over
right. So
0.5 and under 3.5 over at FanDuel. Plus 110 on the over, minus 115 on the under. We're booking both those bets. It'll be fun.
it will be. So we got to wait for it to come back up on FanDuel, but I'm sure it'll be there for Matt Collins. But over 0.5, like you said, plus 110 is up. We just are waiting on the under 3.5. I think we're waiting on a play here. Well, now it's 0.5 at FanDuel.
Yeah, now it's gone. All right. I mean, if you guys hit that, great. It'll be fun. If not, then I don't even know if we'll track that.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
fine. And I'm fine with just the over half a receiving yard at plus 110 because we're getting that plus money and we have it right at 50-50. So we're getting a little bit of value with that plus money there.
yeah, we'll just hit the over. If you guys hit the under too, that's fun. But yeah, we'll hit the over there. Looking through other things, Dawson Knox, does he have a reception yet? Yes, he does. So
He's 1 for
Dawson
7.
Knox's line is sitting at 7.5, plus 136 to the over, minus 178 to the under. So just needs one more yard. What do we have for that? Now it's plus
We're
34.
we're at 37.5% to the over.
All right, so pretty much, I mean, over
Right in
no
line with the
value,
juice.
under, I think, is very marginally negative EV. So we'll stay away from that one.
Yeah.
Kincaid obviously is going to be a little bit more involved than Knox, regardless. His line's sitting at 40.5 over at FanDuel, 43.5 over at DK. He's at 34 yards receiving. So
Yeah.
any
We would show some overvalue, but again, we're in kind of a spot here where Buffalo has the ball only 29 seconds and they won't start with the ball in the second half. So it would be pretty thin value over 40.5.
Okay, we'll stay away from that one. Again, I'm not trusting too many things. Touchdown bets, I feel like, are going to be fun.
Yeah, touchdown bets will
Yeah.
be fun for sure.
What do we have for Trevor Lawrence second half now? The line's sitting at 206.5 over at multiple spots. I kind of want to hit that under. So scroll it over to the second half. I'm assuming they're not going to do a Hail Mary here. He's currently at 51, so 209.5 over at Caesars and at ESPN Bet. What do we have for his total game?
We have 196 and a half yards for his total passing yards.
Oh, hitting that under. Hitting that under minus 115 over at MGM, ESPN Bet, a little higher juice over at Caesars, but we're hitting that under of 209.5.
So under
That's
209 and a
away from
half.
it at 192 at FanDuel, but it's 209.5 great under.
Under 209 and a half passing yards for your Trevor Lawrence for Grant here, minus 115. I'm rooting for those completions, so I'm going to stay away from it myself personally, just because I have those over on his completions. We are showing 13 and a half more completions for him rest of games, so I'm feeling okay about that and still staying on the under on the yards. So that might work out. Might hit both.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's passing it right now, he's getting what, 5 yards per completion.
Yeah,
So it's definitely still possible. Uh,
as the Bills
Cook,
score again.
yeah. So will Cook get one more receiving yard? That is the question. He's at 48, Lions 48.5, plus 105 on the over. What does the model have?
Sorry, I was paying attention to the touchdown. Start over.
Uh, James Cook for one more receiving yard rest of game, plus 105.
And how many does he have right now?
Just one more for rest of game. So he's at 48, needs 48.5.
Yeah, I just need to put in this exact numbers.
Okay.
48 and a half, 67% to the over.
Oh, we're hitting that. We're hitting that. Should we do a 2-unit bet there? I'm real.
Sure. Let's do it.
2-unit bet plus 105 over at ESPN Bet. Yeah, that's
The rare 2-unit bet what happens live bet James Cook over 48 and a half receiving yards. He just needs one more receiving yard.
That's gonna be a fun one. How much time is left in this half? We don't generally look at touchdown bets too much until halftime, just because
19 seconds left.
So huge disparity here. Josh Allen, 31.5 over under at FanDuel for rushing yards, 38.5 over at ESPN. Another potential middle. He's at 22 at the moment. 7 yards is a big middle, even for minus 120 juice on both sides.
We have 70% to over 31 and a half, and right on the line with the model. Model's right in line with 38 and a half.
All right, so we'll hit the over at 31.5, minus 120 over at FanDuel, just moved from 118. But we'll hit that over.
Guys, so over 31 and a half rushing yards for Josh Allen. And, this is a spot where I do worry a little bit just because with this game so far out of hand, does he need to scramble and risk it? That kind of thing. But hey,
Josh Allen's got that dog in him. He's going to.
Got
that. He's gonna risk it for the biscuit. Also an interesting one. Ray Davis currently at 1 rushing yard, could potentially get some extra run in the second half. Line sitting at 14.5 and 19.5. My lean would be towards the over, but I want to hear what the model has to say.
We'd be under, but again, that'll change with the usage, right? If I bump his usage up, we'll probably be, over, but I don't know for sure. It just depends on how that usage changes.
I think I'm hitting it at 14.5, minus 113 on the over.
All right. So Ray Davis over 14 and a half rushing yards, minus 114. What book was that at?
That was over at FanDuel.
At FanDuel. All right. So we have 19 seconds. Trevor Lawrence can't even complete a pass right back to the line of scrimmage. It's looking rough for Jacksonville.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence is. If he was drafted late in the first round, would he still have a job?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think he did still have a starting job. Definitely not at this moment. They would have benched him.
And I don't know what's gotten into him. He's gotten worse since the previous 2 years. Like last couple years, his completion percentage versus expectation was neutral, basically. But this year it's minus 10%. It doesn't look to be getting any better this game.
I mean, Peterson coming into the offense obviously changed some things, catered it directly to him, but he's just one of those guys that's not going to be great. But that's just my thought. I'm not
Yep,
an
yep.
NFL guy. I just gamble a lot. Um, let's see the code. Just get to halftime so we can bet on some touchdowns. With
I hear that.
up
I
right
hear
now,
that.
I have some feeling there's going to be some value on some TD bets. Um, by the way, 3-0 on TD bets tonight for me. Just kind of have to give myself a little
Nice.
like nice. I'm the greatest outside of probably other people in jail. I don't know.
Yeah, Gilles
Still
having a
very
nice
good.
TD day himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking through TD bets, not much on the board because they're still playing. So we're just gonna sit here for the next 8 seconds and just
And root
wait.
for Trevor Lawrence to get a completion.
Yes.
Nope. Popped it to him.
Classic Trevor Lawrence.
Unbelievable.
Oh gosh.
His live completion prop is 23 and a half, which makes me feel good because I got over 20 and a half. So we're favored to go over there.
Nice. I don't think my Jags plus 5.5 is hitting. Just going out on a limb and saying that. I don't think that's hitting.
I see a good one. Good question in chat. Travis Etienne under on rushing yards because we're looking at potentially subbing him out. He only has 9 rushing yards right now.
So what do you have currently at 9, line sitting at 24.5?
We'd be showing over for sure on that. But again, the question is, do they just take him out or do they let him get some run? I don't know.
So I think they want to give Tank Bigsby a little bit more work. They talked about kind of throttling back his usage anyways. The line's low enough where I don't think I want to go there.
Right.
If you want to, I
No,
would trust you, but
I definitely don't. I was just curious about it. Now it's 20 and a half for rushing yards, which it feels like they're trying to bait us into betting that. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's still at 24.5 over at several other sites, but yeah, FanDuel's got it all the way down to 20.5. What about Lawrence rushing yards? Currently at halftime, we'll get to TD bets in a second, but Lawrence is at 3 rushing yards. His over under is at 9.5 over at Bet Rivers, 10.5 more on other spots.
We're right in line with
What
the
do we
market on him. We have 55% to the over.
have? Oh man, if Bet Rivers pops back up with that same line, they were plus 110 on the over, but I don't think they're throwing that back up there.
Yeah, yeah. So we are at halftime, and I do want to just remind everybody to hit the like button. We did end up getting over 200 likes on the Thursday night episode when all was said and done. So great work, everybody. I'll have to, like I said, I'll have to figure something out, but we'll pay you back for the likes. But make sure to hit the like button again. And I do believe we have some promos out there as well. If our producer, there we go, puts it up, make sure to use code LIVE20 to get $20 off the annual rate of Action Pro. In there, you will get access to the Bet What Happens live model so you can see what the model is showing as the best values. Comes in super handy, especially on Sundays when you got lots of games going on at once, or like we have 2 games going on right now at once. And you'll get access to Sean Kerner's pregame player projections and more. Use code LIVE20 to get $20 off the annual rate of Action Pro. All right, so halftime is here, 34-3 for the Buffalo Bills leading the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is it time to look at touchdown bets, Grant?
Yeah, I got the TDs pulled up. Pretty wild disparities. Josh Allen to get a touchdown plus 410 over at FanDuel, plus 100 over at Caesars. I'm guessing there's not much value.
Not at 100. Our model would have plus 218. Now, the question is, do they pull him? Do they put in a backup? Do they protect him? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean it's a little tough. I'm tempted to still let's throw a quarter unit on that.
All right, quarter unit. Oh, and it just ticked down to plus 380 at FanDuel, but that's fine. Quarter unit for Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, plus 380 at FanDuel.
All right, we're gonna have to go quick. I think FanDuel's adjusting. Curtis Samuel get a touchdown plus 1,600. There's gonna be no value on that. Dawson Knox plus 1,800. Yeah, FanDuel just nuked all the Buffalo
They
Bills
did.
line.
They did. Yeah.
Oh, darn it. There was gonna be some value on those. Yeah, FanDuel, anytime you see a blowout like this, FanDuel has a propensity to give massive odds on a lot of guys for the team that's leading. It's a
Yep.
little flaw in their system. But I'm not, they dropped everything just so drastically.
How about
ETN,
Gabe Davis, 5-1?
I kind of like that.
Yeah, we have value there. We have plus 480 and the Jags start with the ball and the revenge game narrative. So yeah,
Yeah, we'll
you
have
want to
that
be
for a half unit.
all right. Half unit on Gabe Davis, anytime touchdown, 5-1 at FanDuel. Half unit bet there.
Yeah. What do you have for Brian Thomas Jr.?
Plus 425.
Staying away. Strange guessing no value at plus 550.
No value at plus 550 on Brenton Strange.
Let's see. Dawson Knox at 20-1.
We're right at 20-1. So the question is, do they give him more usage?
I mean, I would assume they give him slightly more usage. Um, Knox is always a big TD threat, and Kincaid, they don't want to get injured, even if Josh Allen gets why don't I remember who the Bills are backup is? Not Case Keenum anymore.
I don't remember off the top of my head either.
Yeah, why? I know it's someone. It was Mitch Trubisky, that was it.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah. Knew it was someone we've heard of many times before.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate the Dawson Knox at 20-1. We'll throw 0.1 units on it. Not go big.
Dawson Knox, and that's at DraftKings. 20-1 Dawson Knox anytime touchdown, 0.1 units at DraftKings.
Yeah, looking through other ones. Christian Kirk, we got 425 over at DK and MGM.
No, not value on Christian Kirk. Chat's asking about Ray Davis plus 1,200 at FanDuel. I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's the best line.
Yeah, we have plus 1140, and if he gets more run, with this being a blowout.
Let's hit that 0.25 units.
All righty. Ray Davis, anytime touchdown, 12-1 at FanDuel. 1/4 unit there on Ray Davis. I like that. Good job, chat, for spotting that one. So I see a question. Are we thinking Trevor Lawrence will stay under 191.5? We're right at 191.5. We took under 209.5 earlier in the show. Hard Rock put up a boost for Travis Etienne to score in the third quarter plus 375. Yay or nay? I'm probably going to say nay on that one since it's third quarter specifically.
Yeah, no, we'll stay away from that one. I mean, I'm not seeing much else that.
Let's look at our old post TD prop, which is the interceptions.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. Let's look over there. Best odds on Lawrence is minus. Ooh, you have an ARB situation minus 105 at DK on the under. Wait, yeah, and plus 117 on the over at Bet Rivers. I think that might be a stale line though. That might be.
Yeah, it must be.
Bet Rivers does have a tendency to do that, so I'm pulling it up.
I definitely see FanDuel is trying to bait us into the Josh Allen interception. They have plus 450 for Josh Allen. We would show value on that, but again, if they pull him early, if the Jags don't even come back at all, it wouldn't be worth it. But if he does play the whole game and slings it around a little bit, even just a little bit, it would be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, the interception line I think was down. Yeah, what do we have for Lawrence to get a touchdown the rest of the game? Passing.
Trevor Lawrence to get a passing touchdown. That's a good question. We have let me just pop this in here. 56.9%. But they start with a ball, so probably higher than that, probably closer to 60%.
There's a plus 190 on the under of 0.5. I think we should hit that.
Where is that?
MGM plus 195 on the under.
Bet MGM plus 195 on the under for Trevor Lawrence, I should say, to have a passing touchdown. I'm pulling that up right now. Yeah, plus 195 for Trevor Lawrence under half a touchdown pass.
Another ARB situation. Bet Rivers plus 180 on the over of 4.5 passing touchdowns for Allen, minus 160 on the under over at TK.
Interesting. Yeah, if you have that at Bet Rivers and it's not a stale line, you can definitely.
No, I'm looking at it right now. It's not.
You're looking at it. Okay, so a true ARB situation there. If you have DraftKings and Bet Rivers, make sure you're able to size your bets the same so that you can take advantage of that ARB situation there on Josh Allen passing touchdowns over 4.5 and under 4.5, since he is at 4 right now.
Yep. All right. Give out some free money there, at least for anyone that has Bet Rivers.
Yeah. So if you have access to that, you got some free money if you're able to size those about the same. So Grant, honestly, I think we'll wrap it up here because we got another game to do in a little bit. So it'll give us a chance to get set up for that one, which is going to be hitting the 2-minute warning in just a couple minutes.
Yeah. So we'll be back in
probably 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. Just sit tight and we'll be back shortly.
All right.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I bet what happens live, part 2 for the Washington Commanders versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Right now, the Commanders are in the process of an upset on the Cincinnati Bengals. Grant, feels like we've seen a lot of upsets this year from underdogs.
Oh yeah, it's been at a huge rate this season. And I mean, Jaden Daniels looks fantastic so far this game. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Joe Burrow does look good, but Daniels has just looked better.
Yep.
And he's passing the ball great. He's running the ball great. I'm currently looking at his rushing yards total here. Current line sitting at 50.5. He's at 20. What do we have for the model?
50.5, and he's at 20. We're showing 63% to the under. And the Bengals do have
All
the
right, so
ball.
hit it right now at
Yeah.
DraftKings 52.5.
All righty. 52 and a half under 52 and a half rushing yards for Jaden Daniels at DraftKings. We're showing, like I said, around 65% to the under when you tack on those couple extra yards as well.
Yeah, and then looking at Jamar Chase, his current line is massive over at Fanatics, 120.5. He's at 58. I mean, it could be one of those games that line just seems a bit high. Um, Bengals do have the ball, which is going to change it slightly. They are going to be slinging it. So,
Yeah. We're at 65% to the under on Jamar Chase as well. But of course, the Bengals do have the ball, but they will not start with the ball in the second half. They started with the ball to start the game.
yeah, I have a feeling it's still going to be pretty inflated at halftime. So we'll wait on that a little bit.
Certainly.
Looking at passing yards, what do we have for Daniels the rest of game? Is it 139? Currently between 235 and 241 for the second half for the game total. What do we have there?
For Jaden Daniel pass yards, he's at
Yeah.
139. We're showing 245 as his live projection.
All right. I think the Bengals are going to score here.
Yeah,
I'm
Jamar Chase did
over
just get a 22-yard catch as well, so it's a good thing we didn't go for that one yet.
233.5 over at DraftKings for Jaden Daniels, taking the over.
233 and a half
Yep.
for Jaden Daniels over 233 and a half passing yards at DraftKings. Let me check and see what's the juice on that, just so we have that. Minus 115.
Yeah, it
Looks
moves.
like it's 238 and a half now.
Well, it was 232 at DK or at MGM there a second ago. We'll go 234 minus 115 juice on the over at ESPN bet. There you go.
234 and a half minus 115 over at ESPN bet. I see a 235 and a half at FanDuel. That's totally fine as well. Minus 114.
And MGM same. Now it's 232 at ESPN. It's all over the place.
Yeah. So you got a bunch of options in the low mid 230s. Any of those are fine. We're showing overvalue there for Jaden Daniels passing yards.
Yeah. Who just scored in the other game? Yeah. Love having two football games at the same time on Monday night.
I know, it
But
makes it crazy.
distracting. Let's look at some of the other lines. T. Higgins currently at 14 receiving yards. His live prop is 46 and a half. Probably change here in a second. No, they call the timeout. All right. So 46 and a half for T. Higgins.
And he has how many right now?
He has 14.
14. We're showing 50-50 on T. Higgins.
All right. Stay away from that. Zach Moss currently at 15 receiving yards. Live line is 20 and a half, 21 and a half, depending on where you're at.
20, 21 and a half. And you said he has how many?
15.
15. Let me pop that in there. 67% to the over on 20 and a half.
Okay, 20 and a half over at Fanatics. It'll pop up at 20, 21 and a half. Most other books, it's X'd out right now. 21 and a half over at DK. Austin Eckler. Currently 25% target share. He's at 22 receiving yards, live line 28 and a half, multiple spots, all the way up to 32 and a half. Bengals score, probably going to have him in for the last drive. What do we think of that?
You said Austin Eckler is at 22 right now,
Yep.
and 28.5 is his line. We're showing 62.5% to the over for Austin Eckler.
All right, it's
Correlate to that.
29.5 now. ESPN bet take the over. It's also at 29.5. Over at Caesars would still take it at 30.5. Over at
Yeah.
FanDuel, now better line 28.5 over at MGM.
Yeah. So Austin Eckler over 29.5 receiving yards is our bet. If you have 30.5, we're still showing about 56.5% value to the over. So yards are pretty important in this one, but it definitely at 29.5, I would grab Austin Eckler over on his receiving yards. Yeah, so looks like Cincinnati has the ball at the Commanders 17-yard line. And 43 seconds left in the half. So I'm just going to update the game state a little bit since the live odds will be changing here. So that'll just change our game state a little bit.
Yeah, just looking through things right now. Trying to figure out what we should bet on. Looking at rushing yards, Zach Moss currently at 43. The over of 63.5 looks real tempting.
We're showing 72% over. Let's hit that.
Yeah, over 63.5 minus 110 over at FanDuel.
All righty. I love that one. So Zach Moss over 63.5. You want to 2-unit that one as well?
Yeah, we'll tune into that one.
All right, 2 units. Zach Moss over 63.5 rushing yards. He currently has 47. And I understand, there's been some injuries for Cincinnati, but that's still too low. Just came down probably because Buffalo's running a play and just came back up at 62.5. Wow. He must have just, I don't even know what happened there, but yeah, he didn't rip off another run. They just repost. That must have just been a bad line if we caught them for Zach Moss. No,
What did we just
62.5.
do?
Yeah, 62.5. No, we're good. That's
Yeah.
correct. I was looking at a different line there. So yeah, I love that.
Throw it away. All right, let's see. Looking for other bets here. Gesicki sitting at 30.5 for his live line. He's currently at 16. Obviously talented, but they've been all over the place when it comes to playing their tight ends. Could see something similar in the second half. Has 2 targets. Is talented, but that line seems, 34.5. Yeah, you can get that line. And what do you have?
Gesicki?
Yep.
Yeah, and he's at 17, 34.5. We're showing 50-50 at 34.5.
What about 30.5?
30.5, we're at 59% to the over.
It's a minus 110. They start with the ball in the second half, right? Or is it Cincy?
Cincy does not start with the ball in the second half.
Yeah. All right, we'll stay away from that one. Probably about right. Just looking through things. Interesting one. Brian Robinson. So the line's at 4.5 some places, 0.5 at other places. Doesn't make a huge difference, but the 4.5 minus 115 under looks juicy to me.
On his receiving yards?
Yep.
4.5. We're showing 60% to the over at 4.5.
Where are you showing at 0.5?
At 0.5, yeah, 69. Nice. To the over.
Minus 106 over at FanDuel on the over. Minus 102 now. We're hitting that. We're hitting that right now.
Brian Robinson Jr. over half a receiving yards. It was minus 102. It's now minus 110. Totally fine. Over half a receiving yard for him. We have him slated for a median of, around 7.5, something like that. So over half a receiving yard is nice.
So I think we just hit Josh Allen's over on rushing yards. Well,
did we? Excellent. Yeah, 13-yard scramble there on Josh Allen. He's up to 35 rushing yards.
I told you, he got that dog in him.
He sure does. That makes me feel good about that touchdown bet too, if he's still doing that.
Yeah, no, he likes to do what he wants to do. Looking for other things.
Give us a like because we hit that Josh Allen over on his rushing yards from the first portion of Bet What Happens Live.
Yeah, go like, guys. Go like.
Yeah, I see a question about B-Rob's rushing yards in chat. I'm going to just pop over here. He has 16.
I have lined at
Um,
48 and a half, 49 and a half, depending on where you're at.
we're showing undervalue on 49 and a half.
All
This
right.
is this perfect counterintuitive spot, right? Where the Commanders are leading, and the worst team is leading, or at least the pregame worst team is leading. So we're in a spot where it's kind of a 50-50 game, right? So it's just one of those spots where I think books are probably over adjusting for the Commanders leading
Yeah.
on their player props.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just looking through some things.
So we are at halftime of this game as well. That'll be important because now gives me a chance to pop in the new game state. And I need to just update this book here so that we can have. All right, so we have the Commanders based off the live money lines. The Commanders are 57.5% to win ballpark. They are ahead by 8 points right now at half, 21-13. And one more time, hit that like button. And I'm not going to go through the whole promo again, but Live20 is the code to subscribe to Action Pro for $20 off. All right, Grant, let's talk more bets for Cincinnati and Washington.
Let's look at some TD bets. What do you have for Zach Moss? Currently best line 250.
Oh, 215 or 250?
250.
Oh, hit that. We're at plus 190.
All right, hitting that. That's what I figured.
One
Over at
unit on that
NGM.
one, right?
Yep.
One unit
Yeah,
on
we'll
that.
go
So
on that.
yep, 1 unit on Zach Moss touchdown. Looks like I see it's down. I might have to give that. Oh no, that was the Bills game. And just switch over. But you're looking at it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it's plus 230 FanDuel, so it's still good there too.
perfect. Yep.
Luke
Plus
McCaffrey
230 plus 250.
Yeah, what do we have for Luke McCaffrey? He's at plus 2,000 right now.
We're at 14.5 to 1.
All right, we'll hit that for a quarter unit.
Quarter unit at 20 to 1. Which book?
FanDuel.
At
So
FanDuel.
we might be firing a lot here real quick. Noah Brown plus 1,400 or plus 2,000 actually. What do we have?
I see Noah Brown 17 to 1.
We'll have that for 0.1 units at 21 DK or MGM.
So yeah, 0.1 units on Noah Brown, 20 to 1 at DraftKings.
Maybe not value on this, but wild line 4,500 for Zacchaeus.
Oh, Zacchaeus 45 to 1. We have 32 to 1.
0.1 units on that. Hitting it.
All right. So Zacchaeus 45 to 1 at FanDuel anytime touchdown, 0.1 units.
Scary Terry plus 1,100 at Fanatics.
Terry McLaurin?
Yeah.
Plus 1,100. Absolutely. He's 9 to 1 at FanDuel. We're showing 630 as fair on McLaurin. So even if you have 750 at DraftKings, but 9 to 1 at FanDuel, if you don't have Fanatics, is good there as well. What size unit do you want to do on that?
Quarter unit on that one.
Quarter unit for Terry McLaurin, 9 to 1 at FanDuel, 11 to 1 if you have Fanatics. I know we're flying through these touchdown bets for our producer here. So Zacchaeus 45 to 1, 0.1 units. Noah Brown 20 to 1. You said that was what, 0.1 units? Because it was pretty thin there.
Yep.
And then Luke McCaffrey 20 to 1 was a quarter unit because we had some value there. And then Terry McLaurin 9 or 11 to 1 quarter unit, 9 to 1 at FanDuel, 11 to 1 if you have Fanatics.
Still there. Well, let's bump it up to a half unit. That's just absurd value. Plus 1,100.
Yeah. For Terry McLaurin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to go actually half a unit on Terry McLaurin at 9 to 1 or 11 to 1 if you have it at Fanatics. And then one more recap there. Zach Moss, we got it plus 250 for an anytime touchdown. Plus 230 is totally fine. We're showing plus 190 as fair on him. So 1 unit on Zach Moss as a little recap there for his anytime touchdown.
What do we have for Jamar Chase for another touchdown? Lions currently at 140 over at DK.
We have plus 250 for Jamar Chase for a second touchdown, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Out on that one. Um, did I already talk about Gasecki plus 550 just moved to?
Mike Gesicki plus 550. No, we're not there in terms of value on Gesicki. One of the few, apparently.
Well, it was mostly that's why I rattled off all the commanders. All their lines were just so far off.
Yeah, that was a little
Uh,
ridiculous.
yeah, because I'm not seeing a ton of value on any of the Cincy guys. All of them they're playing from behind a little bit, so all of them have been teed down a little bit. T Higgins plus 300, guessing no value on that.
No.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I aside from Zach Moss for Cincy, which is the counterintuitive one, right? Because we are expecting Cincinnati to make a game out of this based off the pregame line, and the model is as well. And the betting market is, right? It only has the Commanders winning 57.5% of the time. It's that counterintuitive spot where should the Cincinnati make a game out of this, all of a sudden these Commanders passing guys show value and the Cincinnati rushing shows some value.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get any more, but we can look at Jamar Chase again receiving. He's at 80 live lines at 129, 130, 127. I think there's some value on that under.
That's right. And he's at 80, and you said 120 something.
129, 130 over at Fanatics,
Yeah, oh
127 at
yeah.
most.
127 even. We're at 61% to the under, and Cincinnati does not have the ball to start the half.
All right, so 129 under at Bet Rivers. We'll just go ESPN minus 115 under 127 and a half.
All right. So under 127.5 minus 115 for Jamar Chase receiving yards. And that correlates with our Zach Moss over on his rushing yards. So couple correlated bets there. If Zach Moss is running the ball, those are plays that Jamar Chase is not receiving the ball.
Yep. I don't see anything else.
Have we checked passing yards or interceptions if we want to roll through those? I know we already did Jaden Daniels. Let's look at Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is at passing yards looks like 315 to 320, I think.
We're showing undervalue actually on his passing yards, especially at 320.
So find the best spot here. I just looked at it a minute ago and that switched over tabs. Loading, enhance.
I love Joe Burrow second half unders
No,
just because of the wrist.
it's 315 is the highest line.
All right, so that would be 56% to the under, so we'll probably stay away from that one.
Yeah, we'll stay away. Looking at some INTs, we got Burrow at plus 160 on the over is the best line, minus 190 on the under.
No value there on Burrow. And then Jaden Daniels, we have plus 210 to throw an interception.
Thin value at Caesars plus 220.
FanDuel is plus 250.
Oh yeah, let's hit that for a half unit.
All right, so half unit on Jaden Daniels to throw an interception at plus 250 at FanDuel.
All right.
I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gave away a lot more bets than I thought we would tonight.
Certainly. So that'll do it for Bet What Happens Live. I know it was pretty quick on the second one here, but we've fired through those bets, especially on those Commanders receiving touchdown props. So anyway, make sure once again to give us a like. I think we ended up hitting what did our producer say? We hit Matt Collins from the Buffalo Bills game there on his receiving yards. So well done to us on that one, on his over. And then another live bet winner there. So give us a thumbs up and enjoy the rest of the games, everybody, and good luck with your bets.
I guess.